What are the three things that have to be, that I think need to be addressed? Number one, we need to upgrade the architecture of our national security concerning this recent developments. What has been the spin of the herdsman-farmer clash is not reading true. People are in their houses. I mean, the modus operandi that we are observing here, it is clear that somebody has created a resurgence of the ancient Fulani form and is hiding under it. Is funding it, the logistics, helicopter drops, drones coming first before strikes come. The MO is not the Fulani. In fact, let me tell you the truth. Who designed this thing? Designed it in Sudan, next door to us here. Between 1991 and 1996, Osama bin Laden and Zawahiri were in Sudan. Yeah. And what they implemented, they infiltrated Nigeria from that time and began to launch what they perfected in Sudan, even before they began to attack other continents and other foreign countries.
Did Libya's fall affect it?
Oh, the Libya fall, of course, you know that it was ill-advised of
Libyan resolution.
Yes, because Libya was a containment force in a sense because of Gaddafi's own ambitions.
Yeah.
And if we had left Gaddafi alone, he would have continued to be an inhibitor for us. But now that he's gone, arms are all over the whole place. Training camps, the global connection that was designed in Sudan became strengthened. Nigeria had been in denial because I can tell you, I've been coming here to channels to talk about this thing for almost 15 years now. Yeah. Okay? So the truth is, if we had calmed down and looked at this thing from the start, we could have saved a lot of bloodshed.
Aren't we aware? I mean, if going by your, explanation of the necessity to postpone the elections, didn't we see this coming 3 years ago, 4 years ago? And isn't there a way that we could have, worked towards it to avoid it, or are we just realizing too late or confirming that we have been in denial all the while?
This is the truth. We are being beaten by masters of the game.
And who are these masters?
Men who are in the shadows, who are behind the global resurgence of terrorism.
We're letting them beat us.
I'll tell you why. Nigeria, unfortunately, we inherited certain divisions historically.
Yeah.
If you look at our judicial system, right now we keep trying to make something work, like a mix that can never really work. It's not convincing anybody outside the country. We are the laughing stock of many nations of the world because they see us inherit something, try to mix it, and we're busy fighting ourselves based on things that others have done. Two, don't forget that in 1958 or thereabouts, before the independence, there was the northernization reality, the northernization agenda, where religion was used to demonize the South. Now, a gap was created and a rivalry. But let us be very clear, which is what a lot of religious leaders need to take note of in this country. The northernization agenda was not a fight to death. It was a rivalry for who would be able to implement his own agenda faster. It was not a fight to death. It was not including things like suicide bombings and these deadly things that you're seeing right now. What has happened is this. This new one uses moles a lot and infiltrates the country to collapse it from within. Knowing full well of our history of the cleavage, the religious cleavages of the ancient, the northernization agenda, that nobody built consensus, nobody, helped to mold opinion, to see that, look, this is not us. We inherited this thing and we don't need it. So, for many years, they capitalized on that. Therefore, there are a number of people who ended up being sympathists. And I've said this before, I've said it on this station many times, that I have too many moles. We are dealing with something that's intelligent. It's like you're playing chess with a maestro. And you want to hope that you can use your own basic chess moves to match it. Now, why am I even saying this at all? Because I remember in those years when we began to sound an alarm, if Nigeria today were able to postpone the presidential election, it sounds far-fetched. Yeah. But if we are thinkers, there are certain emergency measures we will take for challenges like this. Why? Allow the president to assure the nation that there is no skew in the national security appointments, the key appointments. he needs to understand and look back, and there are those who will prevail upon him, because it is creating too much mistrust. It is not true, but it has fueled conspiracy theories.
So perception to a lot of people is reality now.
Perception to a lot of people is reality. Now, because lies will be involved, if we don't close ranks before the die is cast, that will be terrible. We can also apply some more modern upgrades in terms of, you know, there used to be something we used to call early warning systems. I know of 1 or 2, you know, computer-based, digital-based early warning systems that we can apply within the next 2 weeks. That will take bloodshed down by 70%.
We may have to take a break in a short while, but let me just ask you this. Aren't we also, by calling on one international organization or nation or another, also to come and interfere pretty much in our electoral process, aren't we also setting ourselves at risks?
That's a very wise one, and I'm going to tell you why it is. Practically every country that's coming to Nigeria right now, it's a global war. This war is global. Every nation is protecting itself first before helping any other nation. So the risk right now is this. It has to be done by people who have a good understanding of global dynamics so that we don't end up bringing in the wrong people to come and assist us. However, having said that, when our president many years ago, or head of state, had radiculopathy, we did not hesitate for him to fly, was it to Germany then, to get treatment. So, if we want to be truthful to ourselves, we'll admit that there are certain challenges in our nation that the sophistication of the institutions that we have on ground and equipment cannot handle.
We'll go to break, but we need you to tell us specifics for those who may be cynical about why should they postpone the elections. What steps should we particularly take? But that's when we'll come back. But we'll also talk about some information that we have about adoption of some candidates. Don't go away.